Williams syndrome. Williams syndrome is a rare genetic condition originally described by Williams and Buren in 1961. The clinical manifestations include a distinct facial appearance, cardiovascular anomalies that may be present at birth or may develop later in life, idiopathic hypercalcemia or elevated blood calcium levels, and a characteristic neurodevelopmental and behavioral profile. Since it is a rare genetic condition, it is very helpful to understand the genetic abnormality called aneuploidy. Aneuploidy is the condition in which the nucleus in our body during cell division has either an extra copy of a chromosome or lack a copy of chromosome. Trisomy is the condition where the nucleus of the cell has an extra copy of chromosome. Monosomy is where the nucleus lacks a copy of chromosome. In the Williams syndrome case, the nucleus undergoes monosomy. Chromosome number 7 is one of the 23 pairs of chromosomes in humans. People normally have 2 copies of this chromosome, 23 from the mother, 23 from the father. There is a deletion of chromosome number 7 in Williams syndrome. Deletion happens when a detached segment of a chromosome moves away and does not attach to the original chromosome.
What are the effects of Williams syndrome?
Changes in the number of chromosome 7 can cause delayed growth and development, mental disorders such as Williams syndrome, characteristic facial features, skeletal abnormalities, delayed speech, and other medical problems. Williams syndrome affects 1 in 10,000 people worldwide. It is known to occur equally in both males and females in every culture. Children with Williams syndrome tend to be social, friendly, and endearing. Language. The Journal of Speech, Language, and Hearing Research stated that the language abilities of individuals with Williams syndrome are largely intact, including excellent grammar and unusually strong vocabulary in the face of severe mental retardation. On the other hand, recent research agree that although language is a relative strength for such individuals, in languages that have complex morphology, morphological development may be at a level slightly below the expected for their mental age. The pragmatic abilities of children with Williams syndrome are also often quite limited. Vocabulary ability is generally considered to be the greatest language strength for children with Williams syndrome. A study conducted showed that the performance of 9 to 11 children with the syndrome are more advanced considering relational vocabulary. The onset of language acquisition by children with Williams syndrome is almost always delayed. Researchers studying early speech production and perception have argued that this delay is likely due, at least in part, to delays in the onset of rhythmic productions in general, both linguistic and non-linguistic, or to delays in the development of the ability to segment words out of the speech stream. Canonical babbling. Babbling is a stage in child development and a state in language acquisition during which an infant appears to be experimenting with uttering articulate sounds, but does not yet produce any recognizable words. During the canonical stage, the babbling involves reduplicated sounds containing alterations of vowels and consonants. For example, baba or bobo. Canonical babbling consists of repeated syllables consisting of consonant and a vowel, such as da 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 or ma ma ma. Spatial language. Williams syndrome is associated with an extreme weakness in visospatial construction, example, pattern construction and drawing. Because spatial language has been argued to provide important cues to nonverbal spatial representation, researchers argue that individuals with Williams syndrome will have considerably more difficulty with spatial language than with other types of language. Grammar. Grammatical ability is a particular strength for individuals with Williams syndrome. In particular, older children and adolescents with Williams syndrome were able to produce and comprehend complex grammatical constructions such as passives, tag questions, relative clauses, and conditionals. Adolescents with Williams syndrome had considerably stronger grammatical abilities than adolescents with Down syndrome. Pragmatics. Pragmatics continues to be an area of particular difficulty during the school years and into adulthood, and even very capable individuals with Williams syndrome. There is particular difficulty in the use of stereotyped conversations, inappropriate initiation of conversations, and overdependence on context to interpret what was said to them. Therapy. Almost all children and adolescents with Williams syndrome would benefit from language therapy. Children who are either very young or who have significant intellectual disability would benefit from intensive language intervention focused on all aspects of language. For older children and adolescents who have intellectual ability in the mild disability to low average range, language intervention targeting areas of specific weakness is important. The onset of referential communicative gestures is often used as an indicator that children are ready to acquire language. At this point, language or developmental therapy aimed at vocabulary acquisition may begin. A full assessment of all aspects of language and communication is critical to determining the goals for language therapy for individual children with Williams syndrome. All too often, children with Williams syndrome do not receive language therapy once they are no longer making grammatical errors. These same children likely would benefit from therapy aimed at both relational, conceptual, and figurative language and pragmatics.